in my boat.
Court is in session with Ryan in Sacktown on If You Don't Like That. Now, Ryan in Sacktown.
Oh, must be Rhino. Oh, Rhino.
What is up, everybody? Not the normal time slot, kind of the normal day. We usually do a show on Thursdays. I've been getting a ton of messages, ton of tweets, DMs, emails, whatever it may be. It's been a newsworthy and noteworthy day here in Sacramento. Grant was on earlier today with Sean Salisbury talking some NFL. And also probably a little bit of Kings. I did not catch the show, but I'm sure it came up. So I figured, you know what? What the hell? Let's open it up to all of you. Let's talk about the news of the day. Most significantly, and at the front of our minds, no Sacramento Kings on the All-Star team. Domantas Sabonis does not make it. Second straight year. I think there's a good argument that he was more deserving this year. More deserving this year to be on that team. I can't argue with Şengün, but I sure as hell can argue about James Harden. We'll talk about that on the other side. Also, we'll stay around as long as you want. If you got questions you want to call, we'll talk about the developing Fox news. Another day closer to the NBA trade deadline. There's some new reports out there. DeMar DeRozan also spoke regarding the situation on a podcast. So doing this show for all of you, we'll be here probably about an hour or so. So let's get after it. We'll talk the All-Star snubs, the All-Star selections, the latest on Fox, and much more right here on the night court, the night version of the King's Court on If You Don't Like That.
Grant and Ryan break it down. It's Sacktown, we're the crown.
Needs to be more aggressive on the offensive end, but this is the kind of
Williams to DeMar.
Fox. Goodbye. Oh, if you don't like.
What is up? Court is in session. Rhino with you here at the just past the 8 o'clock hour on the West Coast, wherever you may be watching. Thanks for tuning in. Tell a friend. Look, it's an open forum for you. I don't usually do an open forum show. Usually it's more formatted. I've got certain things that I'm going to hit on. I don't sit there and write my takes out. It's just coming on, talking with you guys. But tonight I wanted to open it up really to each and every one of you. It's not really a forum to go to at the moment to talk about Sabonis not being included on the All-Star team. And for those thinking that that story has been written, just
So you're telling me there's a chance? Yeah!
it's not quite put to bed yet. Anthony Davis was selected to the All-Star team. He was deserving of that honor, but he's dealing with an injury. So it's unlikely that Anthony Davis is going to be playing in the All-Star game. Who's going to be the first replacement? I got to think Sabonis is near the top of the list. Now, could be a couple other names that you could argue as well. So does that diminish Domantas's being an All-Star, being an injury replacement? I don't think it really does for this reason. When your career's all said and done and you're in the history books, you maybe go to the Hall of Fame. It doesn't say injury replacement All-Star. It still says All-Star. So it's the classic version of what I've always said. You got to do twice as much to get half of the recognition if you are a player in Sacramento. And that is also true the opposite way, unfortunately. And we've seen this. We saw it as recently as Mike Brown's dismissal if you just make the slightest misstep, you're going to get nailed for it. You're going to be all over the national news. So we can talk about Sabonis. There is news, different reports going around about De'Aaron Fox as well. One interesting thing that I posed to all of you, I believe it was yesterday on the Kings court, was this. I'm like, well, how do we not know that the Kings didn't approach Fox first and say that they were thinking about trading him? Interesting enough, Mark Stein has put something out there. In fact, he's saying the Kings approached De'Aaron Fox representation first about looking to trade him. Does that change things for you? It's a little bit different than what we've heard so far, and certainly agents like to control the narrative in the media, but I could see that as a viable situation. Hell, it's been a talking point on this show. It's been a talking point across other platforms here in Sacktown. So get up in here if you would like to be a part of the show. Put your questions in the chat. I would be happy to answer them. If you'd like to call the show, all you got to do is hit the QR code or scan the QR code, or you can hit this link right here. We do have a phone that you can call. Let me put that number up, 916-822-9485. You can hit us up there as well. Happy to take your calls on everything. So I'm just going to hop right to it. Let's get to the chat. Let's see what all of you are talking about. Tyler says Sabonis was snubbed. You know, for years now, I've been saying it for probably 5 years, these individual awards are becoming nearly as much about what your team is doing as what the individual is doing. Sabonis's numbers are much better, not much better, but they are better than Şengün's. But look at where the Rockets are at right now. They just came off of a week, by the way, where they knocked off, they knocked off Cleveland twice. They also had some other good wins. So it is what it is. It's part of the voting. Now, the James Harden thing. Look, I get the Clippers are doing better than expected, and they haven't had Kawhi for nearly as much of the season as they wanted. But I don't see James Harden as an all-star. I'm sorry. It just doesn't do it for me. John, what's up, man? Grant has 8 o'clock shows all the time, buddy. Yeah, but I don't usually have 8 o'clock shows. So there you go. Powell should have made it over Harden. Great point there, Dab. Norman Powell was campaigning on NBA Today last week. Nobody should be surprised about Sabonis not getting it. I agree. I think the big question now is who's the replacement for Anthony Davis? Is that going to be Sabonis or is that going to be Norman Powell? I think it really comes down to those two. The as one addict. All right. Everything just feels so odd. We're just celebrating a hot streak, and then we get hit with all this. So is the NBA. So is the world that these guys live in. As much as we see it as a game, others see it just as much as a business. But I'm kind of opposite Napes here, where last night he said the honeymoon still had a lot to do with the Kings' success initially under Doug Christie. I'm not quite ready to subscribe to that thinking, but yeah, look, the Fox stuff, this has been coming for a while. So if you're a fan and you weren't expecting this road to come and fork to two different sides, then I don't know what to tell you. Now, has it been accelerated a little bit? Sure, it's been accelerated. But it's interesting that Mark Stein is reporting what he's reporting. And as for all this that's in the media about the Heat being interested, the Heat can be interested all they want. The Kings do not want Jimmy Butler. Trading for Jimmy Butler would be an asinine thing to do with the program that the Kings are trying to build, and especially with the young core that they're running with. That would be crazy. You would be giving up really your biggest chip. There's not a guy on the team that has more value than De'Aaron Fox. You'd be giving him up for a rental in Jimmy Butler. Kings aren't winning a championship this year with Jimmy Butler. So stay off of that. As for the Fox situation, how about the reports that Vivek Ranadive thinks that maybe he can fix this thing. He's going to fly out to Oklahoma City to meet with Fox. Fox is open to meeting with him, as he certainly should be. He signs the paychecks, but I think we're past that point. I think we're past that point. Now, I don't think we're past the point where Fox can't play out the season here in Sacramento. For me, the best case scenario for this Sacramento Kings team is waiting. The Kings hold all the leverage. The Kings have all the cards in their hands. There is no rush to get this guy off the books. Now, you worry a little bit about the locker room. Could that be an issue? In fact, DeMar DeRozan was on a podcast not too long ago. He was talking about what it looks like here in Sacramento, possibly without De'Aaron Fox. And remember, De'Aaron was a huge part of recruiting DeMar to come here. Here's what DeMar had to say.
It's tough because, looking at the landscape before I came here, the guys I talked to was Fox, Domas, and Malik. Those are the core guys that, made it easy for me to make my decision to play here, and a key player, juggernaut and Fox, not knowing the future of that, it does make it tougher. I don't have much time left. I'm not trying to play another 5 years, try to maximize the opportunity we have now to play with a great team. You never know when dominoes fall the wrong way, when it comes to organization, it makes it tough, so it's something that, we just got to weigh out and see. And, for the meantime, make the most out of it, so we'll see how it pan out.
So you expect me to believe that a Black Hawk helicopter?
Oops, a little bit of overrun there. Russell, what's up, man? How you doing tonight? My pleasure. It's how I feel. He's the heartbeat of this team. It's the best big man you've ever had in Sacramento. That's not just me saying it. That's Jerry Reynolds saying that as well. But I'd be interested to get your take a little bit more on that, Russell. You think he's been disrespected by the Sacramento media? National media, I get. I've never had somebody say the Sacramento media. Interesting. Expand on that. Would like to know that. Boogie was a 4-time All-Star here, same amount of times as Weber. My pleasure, Rock. My pleasure. By the way, it is my wife's birthday today. Happy birthday, sweetheart. We just had a wonderful dinner, hung out for a while. Now she is off to do a couple of things that she needs to do to get ready for tomorrow, which freed me up to spend some time with all of you. By the way, if you were a part of the show yesterday where we got sidetracked in talking about shoes because one of the articles we were reviewing had like an ad that had a bunch of women's shoes on it, I put it on my X account. Go to it at Ryan_in_Sacktown. I put the pictures up to prove my point. So go check that out. If you were a part of that conversation, you might find that funny. I can't see any reason why a franchise would tell a star player mid-season in a playoff race that they are shopping him. Look, NBA Kings 1, it's you got to separate really the star player from the situation with the star player. And when I say the situation, it's this. He's got 1.5 years on his contract. It's the rest of this season and next season. I've been saying it since this summer, but I admittedly think this got accelerated to a degree. Now, it seemed like it inflamed a little bit with Mike Brown being dismissed, whether you're on the side of the fence that De'Aaron was a part of that, or whether you're on the side of the fence that De'Aaron wanted Coach Brown to stay. I think that definitely inflamed the situation because a lot of heat came down on De'Aaron, whether you like it or not. And if you're De'Aaron and you wanted Mike to stay, you're not happy about that either. But back to earlier this summer, guys like De'Aaron Fox, and he's a tier 2 guy. He's not a tier 1 guy. Tier 1s are Steph Curry, Anthony Edwards. I even hate to say Wemby, but I guess he is now just by default because of his upside. Wemby, you're superstars of the league. De'Aaron Fox is probably second to third tier below that. But even being so, when you get to the last year of your contract, NBA Kings 1, that's basically like you don't have a contract. That's kind of like playing without a contract. Look what's happening with Jimmy Butler right now in Miami. Now, different situation. Jimmy is older than De'Aaron. The Heat don't want to pay him beyond this year. But those guys, if you're a top 50 player in the NBA, you don't usually go into the final season of your contract without it already being extended. And if it's not already extended, then the writing's on the wall. The team might not want you back. That's why all the pressure this year was around making all NBA, because that's where De'Aaron could get the Supermax. But, you know, even going back to that, I put it out in June. I mean, it was back in June that he wanted to see how this roster developed. That was just as much of a part of him not re-signing as the money is. De'Aaron said on Draymond's podcast that he's good on money. He's got enough money. Well, yeah, you can never have enough money. I get that. He has generational wealth, but money's still going to be a consideration. Guy wants to win. He wants to win. So you have to, at this point, you have to look at what you can get for him, because if you don't do that, if you're actually not looking to trade him, or at least having the conversations, or you're getting any type of hint that he might not want to return, you got to get something in return for De'Aaron. So I understand the thought process of a fan, like, hey, it's our dude. Like, he's one of the guys that's got to be in there if we're going to make a playoff push. Got to have him. But the business side is, here we are. Here the bleep we are, unfortunately. And it's really interesting, again, that Mark Spears is reporting what he's reporting. If true, it doesn't surprise me either way. It doesn't. But I get where that throws you off. I definitely get that. Unless the player approached them first, well, that's what's kind of at or up in the air. Was it the Kings that maybe approached De'Aaron's representation first? Because I strongly believe, I can't confirm this, can't confirm it, but I strongly believe that the stuff that we heard earlier this week, late last week, that it would be a good idea to trade or look to move De'Aaron Fox, I strongly believe that leak was from De'Aaron's camp. And when I say De'Aaron's camp, I mean Klutch Sports in Rich Paul. I don't think that came from the Kings. I would be shocked if that came from the Kings. Monty McNair and Wes Wilcox have played everything so damn close to the vest when it comes to moves. And half the time when you hear about players that the Kings may have interest in, you're not hearing about it until after the Kings have already decided to move off of that player and not pursue them anymore. So much like Coach Brown's agent put stuff in the media that the Kings didn't want to pay him. I think it was $10 million a year was the number, which riled up the fan base. I think this came from Klutch Sports, and I understand why it would come from Klutch Sports. Get it. They're going to do what's best for their client. What's up, Dennis? How you doing, dude? But if you're the Kings, really quick, I do have to say this. You haven't exactly done things to reassure De'Aaron that he's the dude. You've offered him a couple of extensions. The last two trade deadlines, you basically stood pat. And look at the draft history over recent years. How many guards have the Kings drafted? So if I'm taking a step back and I'm De'Aaron Fox, I'm kind of looking, I'm like, this is weird. I thought I'm the guy. Yeah, we've got a backup already. We've got Malik. We've still got other guys on the bench behind me at that position, but we're bringing in another guard, and you had to trade one away in Tyrese Halliburton because it didn't work. So it feels like this. Well, I know I know this has been boiling for a while. It's the reason we've been talking about it for so long, up until even before this came up. And it was Klutch Sports that said it'd be a good idea to move off of De'Aaron, which, by the way, Kings fans, by the way, anybody that's like bent at De'Aaron Fox for this, I think you should rethink your point of view in this sense. This could have been going a hell of a lot different. This could have been De'Aaron Fox. This could have been Rich Paul, Klutch Sports, saying, "Oh no, we really, you know what? We strongly believe that my client's going to get the Supermax. That's all we're waiting on. We want to be in Sacramento. We fully intend on re-signing with you here in Sacramento, but we want to see the team improve." They could have gaslit the Kings. And the Kings could have started making moves around that verbal commitment, around that understanding, while all the while De'Aaron wanted ultimately to get out. So in some ways, I'm kind of thanking Klutch Sports and De'Aaron Fox. They gave the Kings a straight up heads up, which to me is noble. I respect that. Şengün, yes. Şengün, ouch. It's not a surprise. Grant's like, I'm going to be shocked if Sabonis isn't on the All-Star team. And I'm thinking, well, be ready to be shocked. It's going to be Şengün. Yeah, Sabonis has him in the numbers, has him in the double-doubles, but the record, they run their offense through Şengün. Makes the difference. And so that's why I ask all you, do you think individual awards are no longer individual? It seems like the team is beginning, and what your team is doing is beginning to matter even more and more, which is crazy. And the disrespect for Sabonis, it's not just from one segment of the NBA community. It's not. Players aren't voting for him. Coaches aren't voting for him. I know fans have voted for him, but what's that say? Is that I don't think that's a bigger statement about Sabonis than it is a bigger statement about the Sacramento Kings in the way that they're ran. Michael Malone has pulled no punches about how he feels this organization's ran. There's guys that have been hesitant, that don't want to come here because of the way this organization has been ran at times, and it begins with Vivek Ranadive. Absolutely does. Look, there's people here in the media that I respect. I respect your Sean Cunninghams. I respect your Matt Georges. I encourage all of you, people, Brendan Nunez, that put good content out, go check it out. Take a little bit of everything in. I respect them. I don't listen to their stuff. I don't. But I did hear Matt go off on a little bit of a rant because it showed up on my feed on X about how Monty McNair never addressed the media after firing Mike Brown, and how he would have asked all the questions that a lot of you should have answers to, and the media should have answers to, about how it was done when they dismissed Mike Brown. Well, that opportunity never happened. And it's the things like that. Those are not things that respected organizations do. Respected organizations stand behind their decisions. That whole pre-taped interview that Monty did, where Mark Jones was asking the questions, hell, Mark Jones should have been dressed in a softball jersey and a helmet because he was just lobbing them up questions that it sounded like the Kings had written. You know, that made it worse. So I agree with Matt, and it's stuff like that. That's why I think that stink, that rub, ends up affecting some of the players. You don't get the respect. Sabonis, classic case of it. Let's go to the phones. GP, welcome in. Thanks for starting us off.
Hey, Rhino, how you guys doing?
How you doing, buddy?
Hello. Good. Just wanted to call in, man, about the trade, Fox and the whole trade situation. I feel like, do you think we would be in a better position if we had traded Fox for Sabonis instead of Hallie for Sabonis back when we got Sabonis. And also, if you think the Magic are interested in trading for Fox, who do you think you would like from the Magic other than Cole Anthony? I'm hoping if we do trade with the Spurs, it is a mix of Keldon Johnson and Stephon Castle. And if they don't want to do that, then I don't think it's worth it, because then, I agree with you. I think we should play out this season and keep that leverage and trade Fox in the off season. And I think we could get, more first round picks and obviously more time to think about this. I don't think we should rush the decision by any chance, because at the end of it, if you look at it, he is considered our star player, him and Sabonis, right? Let's say. So I don't want to do what we did with DeMarcus and got almost nothing back. I don't want to do what we did with
you can't. You can't. You're right.
And honestly, I was a big fan of IT, man, and I don't like how we treated him, and honestly how the Boston Celtics treated him. I think that guy deserves a backup point guard role on any team. Granted, he he's not the tallest guy, but I just think he's so talented offensively to where you can figure it out. Some coach can figure it out, like a Greg Popovich or somebody who's has a genius mind, where even like a Steve Kerr. But yeah, man. As far as the Kings, I just feel like everybody's is kind of anti, and the team kind of looked like they didn't have that aggression yesterday against the Sixers, or when they did, they didn't put him away. That's something we obviously need to work on. And hey, some nights you just don't have it. You do go cold, and I just wanted to say, Fox has been, but I know he's been top 8 in scoring, before he got hurt. So it's not like the guy isn't talented. I just want a return that would, keep the kind of wheels spinning even this season if we do trade him. If not, then I agree with you. Let's wait till the off season. Is it okay to talk about some football right now?
Yeah, throw it in really quick. Not too much, though. I don't want to get too much off the beaten path.
Yeah, for sure. I'm a huge Raiders fan. I just wanted to see what you guys thought about the Pete Carroll situation, and if you think we should bring on Russell Wilson as a QB.
Oh, boy. Okay, cool. Appreciate it. Hey, thanks, GP. Couple of things really quick. Fox was not on the table with the Halliburton trade. The Pacers did not want Fox for obvious reasons, not his play, his contract. It didn't make sense for them. Would Halliburton be better with Sabonis? I don't know. I really don't, to be honest with you. So I'm not going to go too far into a hypothetical. Waiting on the trade. Now, this is the trade off. Will this become a bigger distraction? For me right now, and I know Fox addressed the quote unquote trade, which we're playing on words. There's no doubt about that. I believe we've got the direct quote right here. Yeah. Oh, no, that is the old one. Where is the Chris Biderman? Chris Biderman, where are you at, my man? That better not be the odds. There we go. There's Chris. So Chris talked to Foxy after shoot around yesterday. This is old news. Most of you probably know it. He said that, and if you read the entire transcript, I guess it was a little bit more playful with like, of course, everybody has an ideal destination, right? But the quote, I expect the unexpected. I think crazier things have happened. Okay. So last night, the Kings, my problem was the physicality. The physicality over probably since the Golden State game has not been there. So if you wait to trade De'Aaron Fox at this point, and I could be completely wrong, I could be full of shit with my prediction. I don't think it's going to turn into an ugly situation. Now, that doesn't mean the situation's ideal either, because he's going to be asked the questions all the time. Whenever something happens, if he messes up, well, are you really focused on basketball? That's going to happen. That's what happens once we get to this point where a player is saying it's a good idea to move off of me. And you've got the owner flying to Oklahoma City to meet with him, which Flores says it could be a closure dinner. I don't know if Vivek's that classy, Flores, but could be. You're right. But I just don't see it being a subtraction, like a substantial distraction, like the Jimmy Butler thing. Could it hurt the Kings season? Sure. I'm more worried about that finger. I'm more worried about how limited De'Aaron's game is. Because admittedly, 3-point shooting, not his first cup of tea. Like, I know he was better at it last year. I know everybody's game is starting to grow in terms of the 3-point shot. But if I don't have a De'Aaron Fox that can put the ball on the floor effectively and get by people and get to the hoop and be crafty and get to the free throw line, if physically I don't have that De'Aaron Fox, then that is a problem for me. I worry more about that the rest of the season than I actually do the distraction in the locker room. As for Pete Carroll, really quick, I think it's a great hire. It's an awesome hire. It's not a long-term hire. You're going to give Pete probably 3 or 4 years. You let him get some very good coordinators under him. Reuniting with Russell Wilson, I don't think it's a great idea. I don't, because remember, Russell was traded while Pete was still in Seattle. That started to kind of sour back in the day. And what made Russ special in Seattle was his elusiveness, his ability to extend the play. He ain't got that no more. It ain't that Russell Wilson anymore. So unless you're bringing him in to coach up a younger quarterback, whether it's Shadur Sanders or somebody else, I just don't see it. I don't. That's just me. All right. What's up, PK? How you doing? Bring in the Gaga. The what? The Goga? It's part of the package if Orlando is involved. Oh, who do I like on Orlando? That was the other part. I haven't given it a ton of thought, to be quite honest with you. Enough to give you a very good breakdown and opinion on that. Lose the beam one-liner here. Wink. What? Lose the beam one-liner here? Wink. What's the beam one-liner? Interesting. Matt George loves it. What's Matt George love? Insufficient chucking is his thing right now. Yeah, it's just not been good. It's not. Oh, Mike, is that you, dude? Mike, we have not talked for like 10 years, man. I hope you. No, it's been more like 15. Mike, I hope you're doing good. Man, I had such a great time working out with you in the summers with Albie Akani and running your camps with a couple of the other guys. Mike, man, hope you're well, dude. Looking jacked. Might be really Mike. Doubt it. But love Sabonis. But he hasn't made the All-Star team the past 2 seasons. It's reality that he really isn't that impactful, leading to wins. Reserves got votes by coaches, and they know more than us. Okay, I know that's not Mike. We'll move on. Couldn't disagree with you more. Could not disagree with you more. You know who has the highest plus minus this season on the team? Domantas Sabonis. Come on. You guys know darn well that if Fox goes to the Spurs with Wemby, even with putting lower numbers up in sack, he will be an all-star. Absolutely. He's a great 1B. Isn't that the ironic part? So many Fox fans, like hardcore Fox fans, where I like kind of worry like you're crossing over to like a cultish kind of style of fandom, say he's a 1, he's the guy, he's a superstar. Well, if he is, why does he want to go be a 1B to Wemby? Because Wemby's the superstar. there. And you're right. He will. Second fiddle will absolutely have a better look at All-Stars. He's going to be on national TV way more. Just even if the Spurs are not winning, they're still going to get a ton of national TV games. Now, I've not said this publicly, but I really question if Wemby and Fox is the best pairing. Now, I get that the San Antonio Spurs don't get to hand pick any player in the NBA, and Fox might be the closest thing that's available to what they're looking for to pair with Wemby. But if I'm the Spurs, if you're going to do a pick and roll, that's not going to work with Wemby. And I get Wemby's not going to be setting these hard screens, but I guess it depends on what version of De'Aaron Fox were to show up in San Antonio. If it's the version of De'Aaron Fox that's shooting threes all the time, I don't know how that's going to work, to be quite honest with you, because that's a large part of Wemby's game. I would expect Wemby's game grows. If somebody is able to get with him in his footwork and his fundamentals, it's going to be a completely different Wemby. That's why you see him so much out on the perimeter rather than inside. And all these people dunking on Wemby, go look. Guy's never even jumping when he's defending the rim. It's crazy. Donald, what's up? Sabonis puts up Hall of Fame numbers. People may not see him as a Hall of Famer, but he puts up Hall of Fame numbers. I think well, look, if Sabonis continues on the track that he is right now, let's say you mix in a deep playoff run, definitely, if you get a championship, I don't see how Sabonis isn't in the talk of being a Hall of Fame player. His numbers are too good. And he plays so consistent. I don't remember in my time as a Sacramento Kings fan remembering a King as consistent as Domantas Sabonis. And forget what he does on the court. Let's talk about what he does off the court. Is there a better teammate in the world than Domas? You know, last night, Domas had one shot in the second quarter, one shot in the third quarter, and one shot in the fourth quarter. He didn't say a damn peep, and I think he had only missed one or two shots all game. He only had, what did he end up for the game? That's the Brooklyn game. Domas ended up with 6 shots for the game. 6 freaking shots. Dude still pulls 14 boards for you and 11 assists. No big deal. Just triple-double. Let's see. What's up? Crochet Dial Hunter? Crochet Dial Hunter? Okay. I see you. Not Vivek firing Mike Malone and hiring PDA was foul. Fair enough. Sabonis is not an all-star. Winning matters. Yes, it does. It definitely does. And the perception of Sacramento matters as well. I go back to the off-season. I think it was the start of the season, the GM poll. There is a GM poll that one publication does every single year. And nobody voted the Kings anywhere near the top in terms of the way they're ran. In fact, if you dig in and you really read between the lines, there's a lot of people that kind of look at this Kings team. What they do is like this albatross. Like, well, we're not really sure how they do it, but they do it. But if you tried to do it anywhere else in the NBA, if you put that player on a different team, it wouldn't work. And I think that's fair in the case of some players in the past, maybe some players now. Certainly not the case with Domantas Sabonis. Not the case with him. Dude works just about anywhere, but you got to build your team somewhat around him, and you have to use him the right way. Mike Brown's biggest flaw, in my opinion, was, well, I'm going to put this back to Mike Brown and Monty McNair. I think one of their biggest mistakes during their tenure together was not having a legit, good, solid point guard on the roster. You were asking Domantas Sabonis to run your offense. You're not doing that right now, and he's putting up triple doubles in his sleep. He's back to the places that you want him to be, and you're getting more out of him. Efficiency is so much higher because you're using him the right way with the pick and roll. Him and Malik Monk, one of 4 combos in the NBA the last couple of years, one of 4 combos that have 50 assists between each other, meaning Sabonis has assisted Monk 50 times and Monk has assisted Sabonis 50 times. Other names include LeBron, Jokic, Murray. That's a massive stat. Pick and roll changed things for this team. Pick and roll is a big reason why this team started to climb out of that hole and get back to 500. And hell, are they going to be able to stay above 500 before the deadline? I am not, or excuse me, before they return home. And how awkward could that February 5th game be against Orlando in Sacramento? That is one day before the trade deadline. Manuel, what's up? Fox is not an all-star. Can they hurry up and ship him? See, I'm in no hurry. I am in no hurry whatsoever. What's the hurry? Legitimately, if you guys have a reason that you think there is a hurry, let me know. Put it in the chat. Do you think it's a distraction? What do you think it is? Because for once, the Kings hold all the cards. What I worry about is Vivek coming in and thinking, you know what? We can make this right. We're going to be able to get this right with De'Aaron. It's going to be good. So we're not going to trade him at the deadline, even though you got a good deal on the table. We're going to see it through the summer. And you know what? No, you know what? I think we can get him to stay. Why don't we start next season off with De'Aaron? Then you end up at the trade deadline next year and you're getting almost nothing for De'Aaron Fox. Now, there are advantages. If you have a team like San Antonio, this would be one advantage, even though you hold the cards, and even though I think it's better to hold on to him and be patient. You hold the cards with a team like that if they feel they can re-sign De'Aaron Fox. There's a big difference in what you can extract from another team if that team has been in talks with Rich Paul, De'Aaron and his team have shown clear interest that they may want to re-sign in that spot. That's the important factor that I don't think a lot of people are talking about. If that's the case, that changes things. Teams will be open to paying a little bit more of a premium because you're not getting a year and a half out of De'Aaron. If they are very confident he's going to be sticking around, and in San Antonio's case, I think that is definitely where we're at. De'Aaron, look, even before this came up, there had been a lot of talk about De'Aaron wanting to play with Wemby. Sam Amick had talked about it before. In fact, Sam talked about it a couple of days ago. Why don't we listen to that real quick? Here was Sam Amick on this situation.
We had Jimmy Butler stuff popping. We had the De'Aaron situation. You know, I've been reporting on it for months. You guys know the whole backstory, kind of the increased discontent that was on De'Aaron's side about the future of the Kings. I did not think that we were going to see it near the deadline, if I'm being honest with you. And even yesterday, it's funny because, you know, you guys know the media business, like started getting word that this was happening. Didn't admittedly think it was a media thing. I was reaching out to the Kings to get their side, and then it kind of popped. But, you know, De'Aaron, you know, he's been slow playing this thing, but it's really obvious when you turn down multiple extensions and when you send the message to the organization that you have concerns about signing on long-term with 1 year left on your deal, it kind of is what it is. So his camp is not revealing the one team that he wants to go to right now. Everybody around the league seems to know that it is San Antonio. And, you know, and again, that's something that we've hit on for a while. So we'll see what happens. The Kings are in a tough spot. You know, they are a team that, not to go too big picture, but you guys know for almost 20 years, you don't make the playoffs. And so by their standards, this team's not bad. You know what I mean? But De'Aaron is looking at it like, I want to contend for a title. I'm not looking to kind of just go by the standards of an organization that has struggled so much.
Yeah, Sam, I was going to ask, like you said, the Kings are in a tough spot.
So Johnny, Fox and Rich Paul want Spurs. Don't think trade happens until the offseason. I'm with you, Johnny. Grant asked me before all this really heated up, said on a scale from 1 to 10, 10 being you're very confident he's traded before the deadline, or 1 being you don't think he's going to be traded. I said a 4. So I'm kind of with you. My man Drapes, what did Drapes point out? Drapes pointed out today that other teams like the Rockets, Lakers, even the Celtics have a worse bench than the Kings. That blew me away. Well, I don't know how Drapes was defining that. By scoring, by plus minus, I would be interested to know that. ESPN pretends he's Shea. No, they do not, Todd. I just heard somebody earlier today that I very much respect that definitely did not have him in that category. Fox can't carry a franchise. Some people saying they think that this is definitely going to be a distraction. Fair enough. That's why we're here. This show is for you tonight. The media overvalues him. That's good news for us. Okay. He's been here 8 years, so I get it. It is kind of that time. It is the crossroads for most players that have been in one spot, especially if you're in a small market. It's getting annoying, major distraction. Okay, well, if that's how you feel, that's how you feel. I don't think last night's game was the distraction. I just think the Kings came out with an awful game plan. I think last night's game plan was probably one of the worst since Doug Christie took over. How you only get Sabonis 6 shots? 6 shots. When the Sixers only had one player over 6'8". One player over 6'8". Then you're blitzing Maxey to start the game. And also, if you have to play, I think the zone defense is great. But if you have to play the amount of zone defense the Kings did last night, when a team's on the second night of a back-to-back, that ain't good. That ain't good at all. So take it for what it's worth. Aaron is ready to move on from Fox. Ian, what's up? Don't trust Monty. Not to screw this up. Ooh, a double negative. There you go, Ian. I can acknowledge that.
Acknowledge me.
Well, let me counter it this way. Monty's hit home runs when it comes to big trades. Now, there's only been one, but he hit a home run, in my opinion. Both sides won that trade. I get some people. I like him. Halliburton. Both teams won that trade. Go find me another trade that's worked out that well. Even this Karl Anthony Towns, Julius Randle trade, that has been one-sided. Julius Randle has not worked the way that Cat has worked in New York. There's no way Fox plays like he does without Sabonis. Zero chance. See, PK, that's where you and I differ to a degree. And it's the question I've asked for the last year and a half to people around the team, people who cover the team. Do Fox and Sabonis make each other better? Sabonis makes Fox better, but I don't think you can say, and I've had nobody that I've asked say Fox makes Sabonis better because they don't really use each other. De'Aaron rarely uses the screens that Sabonis sets. The little things that don't show up on the box score that Sabonis excels at, those are the things that when you're a guard like De'Aaron Fox, you got to maximize. You know who maximizes those things? Malik Monk. Look at the connection that Sabonis and Monk have. And I'm not trying to pit Monk versus Fox here. All I'm trying to do is draw a line. When you have a point guard, and Malik Monk, to his credit, he's not even a true point guard. And he's doing a hell of a job of creating. A much better job than most people thought he could do. But you need to match Sabonis. You need to pair him up with a guard like that. I am not suggesting that you trade De'Aaron Fox for TJ McConnell, but guys like TJ McConnell, guys like Kobe White, those kinds of guys, Drew Holiday, those are the guys you need to pair with a Sabonis. I get they don't grow on trees, but that's how it's like. We were having a discussion on this show yesterday. All of a sudden, this thing broke out about people who put ketchup on steak, right? It's like putting, if you're not using Sabonis the proper way, it's what it's like. It's like putting ketchup on a filet mignon. Instead, hit it with some blue cheese and bacon and some mushrooms and some onions. Make that steak even better. Elevate it. And guess what happens? It elevates the other things too. It makes those things taste even better. Sorry. Some of you might not have had dinner yet, but I hope you get what I'm saying there. Best reason not to trade Fox right now is the Kings need to fire Monty first. It's an interesting point. I think Mike Brown, it's easier to fire a coach than a GM in the middle of the season. So I get that point. I could see why you say that. Rhino, do you think other teams will pay Fox over $50 million? I don't. I don't think if he were to make All NBA, I don't think there's another team in the NBA with this CBA that's giving him the Supermax. I just don't. And I disagree here. Fox is not a cancer in every way. It's an interesting discussion to have because on the surface, publicly, De'Aaron plays these cards right. It's been really good when it comes to that, but is there an argument that there's been some passive aggressiveness, some missteps, some sensitivity? Absolutely. 16 days without talking to the media last year? I can deal with 16 days without you talking to the media. Not happy about it. What I can't deal with is your numbers also dropping dramatically during that time. Can't be up and down like that. And that's kind of De'Aaron Fox's game in a nutshell. The up and down. It's not a smooth ride. It's big drops and high hills. Quarters of 4 points and quarters of 16 points. It's not a steady attack. Omarius says, got to trade him now. Get the most value. Now, then later. Well, if it's the right team and it's the right return, sure. If they think they can re-sign him, okay. You don't trade him. I think a lot more options open up. The standings that you see right now in both conferences are not going to be like that at the end of the year. Guys are going to get hurt the second half of the season. Chemistry is going to fall apart in some places. Teams are going to just miss out on winning a series. Situations, what I'm saying, situations are going to change. I think the market opens up a little bit larger for De'Aaron Fox if you wait. However, if you wait, you run the risk of what we've talked about, distractions. Here's another one that we've not talked about. You run the risk of him getting injured. What if De'Aaron gets injured? Let's go back to the phones. Jay, what's going on tonight, brother? What's up, Jay?
Hello. What's going on, Ryan? How you doing?
Good. How you doing, man?
I'm doing good. Well, I don't know if you heard the news, but apparently Fox was not the one, and his campaign were not the ones to approach the front office regarding him being traded.
I hinted at that a couple of days ago, and I started the show with it tonight. Yeah.
All right.
It's according to one. It's according to one port, Mark Stein, but it doesn't surprise me either.
Well, I just want to say that if that's the case, which it very well could be, the people that are saying this front office is incompetent and we should fire Monty and whatnot, you should obviously wait till the end of the season to do such thing.
Yeah.
I mean, at this point, it doesn't matter if you fire those guys. They're not the ones that are approaching Fox about a trade in the front office. It's the ownership. It's Vivek. Because Monty and Wes Wilcox are not the one footing the bill for De'Aaron Fox when he signs a max contract. You have to remember, at the end of the day, it's a business. If Vivek does not want to pay that money, he's going to go to the front office and instruct them on bringing this up to Fox. This, that, and the third, and that's the end of the discussion right there. So it's kind of a lost hope for the Kings. If that is true, if it is, the front office being the ones that are, kind of initiating this type of contact with Fox, because they don't have a choice. It's not like they just woke up or have been thinking about it for this past, 2-3 months or whatnot. And Monty and West were like, you know what, let's just go and ask Fox how he feels about being traded. No, not with a guy like De'Aaron Fox. Maybe with a guy like someone else on the roster, on the bench, but not with a guy like De'Aaron Fox. That's coming from the ownership. And if he does not want to pay, he's not going to pay.
So, Jay, I want to play devil's advocate with you really quick, because it's something that I've talked about now for 6 weeks. Sure. Is that scenario possible that Vivek says, I don't want to pay? I'm going to hit you with a more likely scenario. Yo, Vivek, since you don't want to go into the luxury tax, if you want to win and you want to shake things up here in Sacramento, the only move that allows us to shake things up is moving De'Aaron Fox. There's the payroll right there for you. You free up this offseason about $20 million because you've got 4 or 5 expiring contracts. But if you re-sign and you extend De'Aaron Fox, that is all you have to work with to change this team. You move De'Aaron Fox, that could be a couple of players. That could also be draft picks that will be very valuable. What I'm saying is any extension with De'Aaron Fox, because Vivek's not going to go into his pocket. He's not going to pay.
He's not. He will
the
not.
luxury. And I get you can re-sign your own free agents without it going against the cap, but he's not
still
going.
Pay.
Exactly. You still
pay luxury.
You still pay luxury, but he's not going to do it. So I think it's closer to a case of this is really our only move, unless you want to keep doing what we've been doing for the last 3 years. Because you can't significantly change the roster with $20 million. You can't.
That's very true. If you get rid of someone like Fox, what is he making right now? 30.
Right now he's making 34. Next year he's making 37.
Right, and then you have Trey Lyles coming off next year as well. Well, there's almost 45 million almost, and in cap space. Obviously, you're going to get some players back in return for Fox, but those kind of players are probably going to be young players on rookie deals, which is very smart to do nowadays. When you look at teams like the Thunder, you got a lot of depth for a great price. And we've talked about the finances and things like that, and that's one strategy you can do. So you could potentially get like two or three good young rookies for like $15 million, and you still have a couple, to work with. You still have some money to work with in the offseason.
Jay, you're spot on, because look at this. You still have Keon Ellis through next year. He's only making 2.3. Malik Monk's contract, incredibly freaking friendly to this team.
Especially when you look at it like the third year down the line. That's going to be like a $12 million contract if you were to sign today. It's a great deal.
So what I'm saying is, like, you actually are set up pretty well, and that's not taking into account that after next year, you're going to have to start thinking about Keegan Murray. But if you were to re-sign Fox and keep things the same or extend Fox, you now have to fill let's say Trey Lyles. So there's one spot. You have to fill Alex Len, Doug McDermott, Jay Crowder, and McLaughlin. You've got 5 players to fill with $20 million and no first-round draft pick. Is this team going up or down? They're staying exactly the damn same.
Yeah, if you sign him, you're not competing. And if you're not a guy like that wants to go in that luxury tax, you're spot on with that. Like you're not, because this $35 million is going to go to $50 million with a max, right? So you're still going to have to fill out your roster with like minimum. You're going to be paying. You're spot on. You're going to be paying a lot of money, and I know he doesn't want to. I don't blame him, but like it's kind of a low blow to the fan base, in a way, because Fox has been terrific for his past 8 years. Obviously, there's ups and downs and whatever.
Yeah,
but it's like we really have no power as the fans, and the guys in the front office, as I mentioned earlier, Monty, Wes Wilcox, they don't got no power either, because they're not footing the bill. It's not their team. So.
Well, I talked about Monty and the interview instead of addressing the media. I don't blame him for the interview. I guarantee that was Vivek. If you shot Monty with some truth serum, I bet Monty said, there's no way I'm doing that. But what's he going to have to do at the end of the day? He's got to listen to his boss. But yeah, it's a weird situation, man. I get it all around. And that's where the wild card of Vivek comes up. If there's any way Vivek thinks that he could smooth this thing over, you're playing with fire. You just are.
Do you think Fox is going to be around do you think he played his last home game with the Kings?
I don't. No.
I think there's one more game before the deadline. So you think he'll be around before or after the deadline?
I think he will. I just don't. First off, you can't do it, in my opinion, a straight up deal with the Spurs. It's got to be a 3-team deal, and you're going to have to bring a third party involved in it. And I don't know what the Spurs give the Kings other than some expiring contracts. I've heard people say Steph Castle, because you do need to point guard if you lose De'Aaron Fox. But outside of that, Sohan, some of the other guys, Vassell, it just feels it kind of Sohan, Vassell, it kind of feels like a Buddy Hield kind of thing. And you just need more than that. And I just think that you're selling too soon. It's like that kid that pulled the Paul Skeens Topps card, right? There was only one of them, and the Pirates offered him 30 years of season tickets, and I think his girlfriend said, you can come sit with me in the suite. And now the kid's taking the card to auction. It's supposed to fetch like $1 million. It's like, dude, hold the card for like 2 or 3 years. It's good. You're 11 years old. It'll be worth $5, $6, $7 million. And I feel like that's what the leverage is. The market just gets bigger for De'Aaron Fox if you wait till the offseason and the draft.
Yeah, especially when teams have their own expiring contracts coming off at the end of the season.
Right.
So they don't have to necessarily trade as much depth or something like that. Castle would have to be included in the deal, but once again, it's oh my God, Stephon Castle, thanks. Like, you know what I mean?
For sure. And here's the other side of things. If you do, let's say Vivek smooths this thing over, De'Aaron signs an extension, and he's going to stay in Sacramento. Well, here's what your financial picture looks like. You're going to be smooth sailing next year and the year after that. But then you've got to start thinking about Sabonis's extension. You got to start thinking about Malik Monk, who can opt out in 27, 28.
Right.
And you think he's probably going to opt out at $21 million. He's going to want more money. I don't blame him. The year before that, you got to worry about Keegan. You think Keon Ellis past next season is going to play for $2.3 million?
Oh, no, absolutely not.
So you're like, Vivek's going to be reaching into every single pocket he has just to keep something together that has not been working.
And that's another reason why I think they're not going after a guy like Jimmy Butler, because I think that'd be, if you wanted it done now and you wanted it done smooth without anybody else involved, I mean, that's the obvious type of trade you do right there. You figure out something with the Heat, and you still remain competitive. But he's $50 million, and he wants an extension. So they're definitely, you just see what I'm saying? They don't want to pay. He doesn't want to pay. So that's off the list. it sucks. It just kind of sucks, you know. It's
No
like
doubt.
you want to be competitive, you want to be cheap and competitive. That really doesn't work out very well most of the time. So I mean, look at the Celtics. The guy won the championship. The owner won the championship last season, and he's selling the team. And I'm pretty sure you know why. He has $200-300 million players on his team. So.
Yeah, here's the other deal too. It's not like, because a lot of these trades sometimes will go down before the draft, which is smart because teams get high on players. They want to move up, whatever it's going to be. People move up in the draft because the lottery process is so freaking goofy. But imagine a scenario like this. Let's say you're able to pull off a John Collins deal where you're sending Herter and Lyles. One other piece, a small piece, and
like a protected first, I think, is what the framework of the deal was supposed to be.
Right. And that means you would still have Collins through the next season too, but then you could always do the Fox deal, the same deal with San Antonio before the draft, and you can get Atlanta's 2025 pick. In Atlanta right now, they're floating around the play-in.
You probably could get your pick back from Atlanta as well.
Right. And well, I'm not sure if they can do that, but maybe I've got to look into that. But you know what I'm saying? You could end up in a place where if you can patch it through the rest of the season with Fox, where you can get the same, if not better deal and get picks on the back end that you can use immediately.
Yeah.
So
I agree with that. Like I would be kind of more comfortable taking a risk and paying a higher price for a guy like Cam Johnson, knowing I can recoup my assets if it doesn't work in the summer with a guy like De'Aaron Fox.
For sure.
Yeah.
All right, Jay. Thank you, brother. Appreciate you. Good stuff from Jay. The financial picture just tells you all you need to know. Vivek has a lot of Como Sidice checks coming up that he's going to have to write. And if this team was like number 2 in the West, right up there with Oklahoma City, and like the Kings are peaking, it's finally happening. Last year was because of injuries. This is exactly who they were supposed to be. Maybe we're talking a different story, but there's no way you retool this team without that De'Aaron Fox money. There's just none. It's De'Aaron Fox and this team for the next 3 years, or retooling and rolling the dice. And trading De'Aaron Fox is not a rebuild. Now, if you trade De'Aaron Fox next trade deadline, yeah, it's probably a rebuild because you're not getting much in return. Let's go back to the phones. GP, what's up, GP?
Hey, Rhino. Wanted to talk about the John Collins trade proposal. I really like that for the Kings this season. See if that could kind of glue us in the front court, so we don't have to trade Fox right away, and wait and try to get those picks like you guys are talking about. I agree with it, man. I think we should make a move that helps this team right now and see where we could get to. Maybe a higher seed, or obviously, then we would have to fight for a play-in if we don't go, get to like 7 or 6. Then, but I think trading Fox in a rush, I don't think it would do us any good. Do you think there's anybody else other than John Collins, like a power forward or a centerpiece, that could help us right away, that that would work well with Sabonis, that you could think of?
Yeah, I think Valanciunas is not a bad piece. I think the money works there. It just depends on what they're asking for. 2 second-round picks just to begin the talks. Other than that, I think you're probably looking at doing a deal for a player kind of like Nick Richards, where you think there's going to be a high upside on him. And sometimes those things work out really well. Sometimes they don't. But yeah, I really think the Collins thing, I think the Kings could maybe get that done. Some of the things that I've been hearing are very positive. when it comes to possibly acquiring Collins. I think there's a ton more smoke to that fire than there really has been with Cam Johnson. In fact, I think the Cam Johnson stuff sailed a while ago, but I think Collins is the one to keep your eye on. Another guy there too is Colin Sexton. I think Sexton would not be necessarily a bad piece here as well, depending on what you do with Fox.
Definitely. I like Colin Sexton, and even who's the other guy? Jordan Clarkson.
I'm not as big on Clarkson, but yeah, I get it. I get why you like him.
Yeah, I just like the offensive side. I know that he's probably shaky on defense. What would you think about Valanciunas and the pool party here? Bringing Jordan.
No. I think Poole is a wannabe poor man's Malik Monk. He's so hot, cold. I'm just not with it, and I think his contract's stupid too.
Yeah.
So.
I was just thinking maybe he could work well with Sabonis, or help a guy like Sabonis out in the offensive system that we play in.
I hear you. There's a lot of things on the table, and that's the other thing. What makes this complicated is there's always a first shoe to drop at every deadline, or even sometimes if we get to the summer, there's that first shoe that drops and it either sets the market properly or it can be like a big ass outlier in the market, which like the Gobert trades. Perfect example of how that was an outlier. But sometimes there's an advantage to being first to the party, and other times there's not. It just depends on how much. Again, if San Antonio is that high on De'Aaron Fox, and they truly believe that they can get him to re-sign, and the pieces and what they're willing to offer the Kings make sense, I get pulling the trigger there, but waiting to trade him is fine too.
For sure.
Like it kind of feels rushed to a degree to trade him this quick. I think it's interesting though, because if I had to put money on one side of the table or the other, I think there's something to some of the reporting out there that the Kings approached Fox and said, we're thinking about deals with you, because there's just Monty McNair has an entire analytics team. Yeah. He has an entire analytics team, and the numbers show you that this team plays really well without Fox on the floor. Now, it doesn't mean they're a better team without Fox, but they can play very well without him. So
defensively, kind of where we're kind of lacking, quickness and perimeter defense without him. If he is traded, we would need help on that end. What do you think about from the Bulls as far as like a piece like Zach LaVine? I'm not sure what his contract looks like right now, but I know they are obviously been shopping him for a long time now.
Yeah, I'm not a LaVine guy personally. I know he's played well and been healthy this year, but he's not usually healthy. And the money that he makes, it's a lot. It's a lot for what you're getting with him. And to be quite honest, the best style of basketball that the Kings have played this year has been ball movement. And that's not Zach LaVine.
But so. I do like their point guard, Kobe White.
Oh, I love Kobe White. He would be a great fit here with Sabonis. Incredible fit.
Yeah, and they're someone like their rookie. I think his name is
Mateus Puzeles. I like him too.
Yeah, he has a good upside. I definitely think we need a player like that. Or Kobe White, somebody who can do both as far as score and distribute the ball with Sabonis. Take some of that pressure off of him. I'm just wondering, Ryan. Why do you think the Kings haven't incorporated a high-low game with anybody with Sabonis, because his IQ is off the charts. I'm just wondering, like, I know we let a guy like Rashawn Holmes walk, but like somebody who could play like a defensive role, but always be in the dunker spot, always wait for the lob, or, just kind of like a person who knows how to play the high-low game with Sabonis. Why do you think we haven't like kind of addressed that in more of a serious matter? And one more thing on Sabonis, I do think he got snubbed, man, and it sucks to say it is because of the wins and loss column there.
Yep.
If you watch the game versus the Rockets, he cooks Sengun every time. He cooks most of the power forwards in the Western Conference, and heck, the Eastern Conference too. And I just think him, and I think Fox might be willing to move on from Sacramento, because one reason is I don't think we get the fair share of calls right now. Sometimes our players do have to work twice as hard or 3 times as hard to get the recognition. Like, per se, let's say Sabonis, right now leading the league in 3-point percentage, leading the league in rebounds, double-doubles, and maybe even triple-doubles. Or actually, he's probably 1A or 1B to Jokic there. But we haven't had a player that's made an impact. We watched the Kings game, so we obviously know how much of an impact Sabonis has. But for him to be out there in the media, do you think he needs more help, or do you think because I've been a Kings fan since the early 90s and 2000s, man. I just feel like even Fox's whole career, he hasn't gotten a fair whistle, man. What do you feel about that? Do you think players get fed up with it? Like, they're just like, let me just go to a bigger market to, at least there's some respect being put on my name and my craft, sort of say.
Yeah, no, I appreciate it. I'll take it off the air. Thank you for the call, GP. As always, making it better. Yeah, look,
It's outrageous, egregious, preposterous.
But it's true. It is. Kings players have to do twice as much to get half of the recognition. If we could put our finger on the reason why, we wouldn't have good shows to talk about it. Nobody can define it. There's a lot of reasons. Now, to the whistle to me is refs. People don't realize this, but refs watch film on the teams that they're going to be reffing. They watch film. They have meetings the morning before the game to go over the films and certain things that need to be watched for on how teams play. Also, points of emphasis that the league has mandated or memoed to the officials. When you play a constant style of basketball that includes physicality, that includes pressure, that toes the line, that makes the referee's job so much harder. It makes it so much harder for them to call those games. And in some cases, it feels like those teams get a better whistle. Perfect example is the game against the New York Knicks just a couple of nights ago. Now, that's a Tibbs team. Not suggesting that the Kings need to play like the Knicks or can play like the Knicks on a nightly basis. But what I am suggesting is that when the Kings are playing physical, when they're coming out and they're making their opponents feel them, when they are pressuring, more times than not, the Kings are getting a good whistle. You are forcing the officials' hands. Now, conversely, when you're not playing that way, and then your jump shots aren't falling, and you start taking it to the hoop, and you start looking to draw fouls, you're not going to get that whistle as consistently. I can't tell you why. It's just the way it works. It's just how it works. They are not going to give you the same whistle that the team across the way from you, who has been taking the ball to the hole hard the entire game, is going to get. And I think that's the Kings' problem. De'Aaron Fox can't pick and choose when he wants to be aggressive and demand a whistle. As for Sabonis, I have no freaking idea. No idea how the refs miss him getting hit in the face and just pounded inside. But I think it goes a little bit towards what I'm saying. There's a lot of things Sabonis, if you go back and look, Sabonis gets away with a lot. He does. He gets away with a lot of little things with physicality because of how physical he always is. So there's something to that. Seriously, go back and watch the games where the Kings are turning defense into offense. They get a better whistle. It's when the Kings are shooting 30, 35 free throws. Now, third scenario, the refs just suck sometimes. They're just bad. What else can I tell you? We got a difficult job, but sometimes they are just outright bad. And quite frankly, although I have the utmost respect for Katie Christensen, and I could never do her job on my best day, I think there is far too much attention directed at the whistle that this Kings team is getting, because if you are watching the home broadcast, all you are hearing is, oh, the refs missed that. Oh, wait, I need to see that again. It seeps in. It subconsciously gets into you as a fan. Now you're looking for it, even though that you're not trying to look for it. And I think too much is being made out of it on that end. So there's kind of a weird balance per se. So I think there's a lot to it, a lot more than just De'Aaron's going to get a better whistle somewhere else. Not just that. Let's go back to the phones. PK, what's up, dude? I think you're back for seconds.
Yeah, I'm back. Hi, Ryan. Hi.
Hi, PK.
Hi, everyone. Hi, Ryan. Hi, everyone in the chat. I think it's like, we're at a point where it's like we have a standard now with Kings. You know, like we lost yesterday and every fan showed up. I mean, it's just crazy views. And I want to say this to you, Ryan. If our office is bad, moving Fox, if they can't move Fox, then this office is trash. Like,
well, PK, you can move
Fox. They have to be able to move Fox for goodness sake.
Well, PK, you can move Fox. It's getting the right deal for Fox.
Yeah, but Ryan, they're saying that they want to go to like Spurs. Like, do we want Castle to play for Kings? We don't need no Castle. You know what? Give us like it's not realistic. Like Fox doesn't get a chance. Like why would we trade Fox to San Antonio Spurs?
Well, if San Antonio can give you the best deal, which
what can they give us,
PK. To be fair, we have no idea what San Antonio has offered. Okay, we don't even know what the. Go ahead.
Well, tell me, what in your opinion, what do you think Fox value is?
To be quite honest with you, PK, I don't know. I don't know. I couldn't tell you what Fox's value is, my man. Look, the Wizards think Valanciunas. The discussion starts at 2 second-round picks. Do I think that's his value? Probably not.
No,
but
Lakers get Valanciunas. Come on, man.
Anybody, I agree with you there. But anybody's value is whatever somebody's willing to pay for.
But what is Fox value to you? You're the pro.
To me, I think that it's a mix of guys that can play now, and it's also a mix.
But no, Ryan, come on, be real. Like, is it 3 first-round picks in the Castle, Or
I think it's PK. I think it's at
Sexton
least
and Collins and 2 first-round picks.
I think it is at least 2 first-round picks and probably 3 players.
Yep. Listen, if this office can't move Fox, this is weird, man.
I hear you, PK. Hey, thanks for the call, brother.
Thank you, Ryan.
Freaking PK, man. PK is like, Ryan, pick a side.
Pick a side.
Pick a side, Ryan. What is Fox worth? PK is that dude that like goes to the card shop. He's like, dude, this card, I guarantee you this card's worth like $50,000. What are you talking about? That card's not worth $5. That card's worth $50,000. I saw it on the internet, on eBay. GP, 2-3 players for Fox, 4 first rounders. Oh my God. Okay. I think hold on. Let's get everybody take a big yawn. Get your Sabonis, get your Sabaka roar on. It's reset. I don't know that Fox is fetching 4 first round picks with a year and a half left on his contract. And to the phones, I know this is going to be TC. TC always has a hot opinion. What's up, TC?
What's up, big dog?
What up, my man?
Oh, man, just vibing, man, just vibing. You know, tuning in with this whole Fox situation, you know, that we got on our hands.
Yep.
You know where I stand at with it. I come from the standpoint of, from the Spurs, that's more than enough, right? Because I'm in the fact, like, look at the statistics, bro. Like, all I'm gonna say like this, we don't even have to go deep because I know I'm gonna get my point across and I'm gonna go. Monk, Keon, Carter, those dudes can hold the fort down, bro. Period. We've seen it already. It was a small sample size, but we've seen it. Monk is elite. Like I don't want to make it into a Monk Fox situation. My point is what I'm trying to get across is the Kings will not fall. If 5 was traded right now, breaking news right now, the Kings will not fall off the face of the earth.
100%
Monk will hold this shit.
I've been saying it for like
Period.
2 months, brother. I'm with you. Finally, somebody agrees with me.
Right now, I've been saying that, and I just want to explain to Kings fans because everybody gonna fan how they gonna fan, but I just want to speak to the fan base. Like, bro, if 5 was going tonight, breaking news, another breaking news.
Oh, hold on,
Kings fans.
PK, hold on. If we're breaking news on the Kings court, we got to get the image in it. Okay, so you'll be able to hear it. Hold on, let's get it. We got breaking news on the Kings court.
Ladies and gentlemen, can I please have your attention? I've just been handed an urgent and horrifying news story.
All right, PK, break your news.
So check it out, bro. Hey, the Kings will not fall off the earth. Period. Point blank. The Kings will make top 6 if 5 was traded tonight. That's all I gotta say. The package from the Spurs: Stephon Castle, Vassell, Sohan, and 2 first-round picks. We're talking about we can get the 2 first-round picks in this draft. We can get their Atlanta pick and their Chicago pick, bro. They're both 2025 in a deep draft. You think this team wouldn't be on top with those 3 players? We got a wing in Sohan. We got a stud point guard in Stephon Castle. And we got a dead knockdown shooter in Vassell. Even if they want to take Vassell out, in my opinion, Rhino, I believe Castle, Sohan, and those picks is more than enough because you're recouping. Not only are you in the lottery with that first-round pick, with 2 first-round picks in the draft, you got a shot at Cooper Flag, and you still trucking with the team that you got going on. Also, you also can still make a trade for Collins right now. Still do that anyway, whether you trade Fox or not.
Right.
You bring Collins in, bro. This team is still cooking. I know the front office is doing weird stuff. I want to get my point across, Rhino. If 5, I got 2 points. That Spurs package, what I just said, is more than enough, and to keep the Kings afloat. Period. Point blank. And also make them a better team. Second,
Nailed
to see
it.
what's going, bro.
Love you, bro.
Month will hold the fort down. I love you too, Rhino. Thank you, dog.
Don't change for anybody. Love that dude. Such a good caller. Okay, really quick. You're like, what the hell are we looking at? This is what PK's talking about. It's what I've been talking about. These are your two main lineups for the most part. There is one lineup that's played more minutes. But I'm coming to you, GP. Hold on, y'all. I'm coming to you. These chats block my screen. So when you DM, it blocks my screen. So try not to do that, but I'll come back to you. I see what you're saying. These are the lineups we're talking about. So these two lines up here, I'm going to highlight one of them for you right there. That is DeRozan, Fox, Monk, Murray, and Sabonis, your starting lineup. Okay. These are their stats per 100 possessions. 100 possessions. They played 390 minutes together so far this season. Below them, that is your lineup of DeRozan, Ellis, Monk, Murray, and Sabonis. They have played 123 minutes together this season. Now, that's their stats. Over 100 possessions. These plus minuses in every category that you're looking at, that is either over or under the Kings team average this season per 100 possessions. It doesn't take a genius to say you've got 5 good pieces of the puzzle with Fox not included. They're averaging 10.1 more made field goals than the Kings average over 100 possessions. By the way, they're only doing that on 6.7 more field goal attempts, meaning they're being more efficient. The ball's moving. They're playing defense, y'all. Look at how everything is basically up and up more than the starters in most categories. In these minuses, by the way, some of these are good. Minus 5.5 turnovers. They're under the turnover rate per 100 possessions for the team. So you have a good core. TC's right. He's right on the money. Been saying it for a minute. There's no way Monty's analytic team ain't looking at this either. So, and now that you got Fox with this finger injury, it takes away his best attributes. Or it takes some away from his best attributes, which is getting to the rim, running, getting to the hoop. So you got good pieces. That's what we're saying. That is what we're saying. Now, whether you bring in the guys that PK was talking about, or not PK, TC, or you bring in other guys, this is not a rebuild without Fox. If you do it the right way, and the right way is not waiting until next trade deadline. Dennis, welcome to the conversation.
Yo, Rhino, what's going on?
What's up, brother?
So, give a take on some of the things I've been noticing with the team since Doug took over. Just around 60 minutes from the bench at 23 points a game. I mean, that's basically, what's hurting us the most right now. Are we plentiful at the guard position? I mean, yeah. Obviously with the rookie back now, but does that make Fox expendable? No. But is he our best trade asset? Of course. Especially if what I wanted to bring up was the signing. Like, I know the Kings offered him that 3-year max or whatever that was. But if he's eligible for the 290, does he have to wait to sign that one? Can he get traded and sign that one? Or does he just lose that one altogether and has to go down to the 221? So, like, that plays a big part in it too, I think. Because I feel like if he wants to go to a team, I feel like the Kings can do the same thing the Bulls did for us. Sign DeMar to 3-year, whatever it was, 80 million, and we could do the same to 5-year, 290, and ship him out. Now, I would feel like the asking price minimum would be 3 first-round picks and maybe a Castle. I know Kings fans are really enthusiastic about those other players, but what I want to tell those other King fans are they're not winning with those players. They want Fox. They want to elevate that position specifically because right now with those other players, not counting the rookie who's really played excellent for them as a rookie, and Barnes, they're not consistent, and we don't need that. What we need is good value picks and fillers, or we have to include another team. And I feel like if we go for the Spurs, we might have a little more wiggle room to ship DeMar there too, because after Wemby, they don't have anybody that scores more than 16 points a game.
I don't know if I want to ship DeMar there.
Well, I feel it'd be more for them to get that bump up, because right now they're flatlining right now. You got Wemby up there crying about him not getting calls. He gets a couple stars on the team with them. Now all of a sudden they have HB. They probably get rid of Chris Paul. Keep Trey Jones, keep whatever assets you want. They want another big, same thing we do, to back up Wemby or play next to him, and we feel like the same way. So we're kind of looking for the same thing in that area. So, but that doesn't mean that we can't include another team or a couple teams. So, but like you said, bro, the ball's on our court. We hold the leverage. Everybody thinks Fox is just gone and we don't hold the cards, and that's like, no, it doesn't transpire like that. You guys can offer us 3 first-round picks in Castle, and then another team's going to like, well, here, I'll give you the player you want, or I'll give you the deal you want more. And that's how the business works, so. But honestly, like, we know we don't want to see Fox go. Nobody does, but in the business grand scheme of things, if he's giving us the little wink wink, hey, I'm probably not going to resign here because you guys can't give no bench production, I get it. The only thing I can't say hate, but the only thing I wish Sabonis would do is turn up his aggression a little bit more. People want him to be an all-star. I'm like, well, these guys in all-star are shooting 30 times a night, 20 plus easy. I don't think Sabonis has shot more than 16 times this season. So, and that's not a knock on him, but it's just what people see, and people are going to want to see a guy, obviously, with the numbers, but he doesn't have the volume shooting, but he has good high percentages.
Yeah,
So,
no, you know what? I think, one, he's not a guy that creates his own shot, but I think there are a lot of times where the ball swings to him on the perimeter.
Yes, that's what I'm talking about with you. I'm with you on that.
He does those long pump fakes. Screw
Yes.
that. Shoot the ball.
Shoot it.
His percentages say it. I'm with you there.
Oh, man, I feel like it brings me back to the Brad Miller days. We're just over there screaming, shoot it, because, man, when he shot the 3 ball, he would make it. Everybody's like, yeah. It brought me back to that. Like, he's got to be a little more dialed up on that and being more aggressive.
For sure. Hey, Dennis, I'm going to cut you loose. Appreciate you.
Appreciate you,
All
brother.
right. Be well. Okay. Rock. I know that you are fairly new, or at least in the chat. You've been here for about a month. Where's my man, Rock? Oh, here we go. Here's Rock. Rhino confuses me. Does he want Fox or not?
Hello?
Okay. Rock, since this last summer, I've been the only dude in town, the only one, that said, I think you need to move on from Fox for this team to take the next step. And it's materialized, and I'm not tooting my own horn. It's not like it was some crazy ass take prediction. But if you watch the team closely and you watch the chemistry that Monk and Sabonis had, and you hoped that Keon would continue developing, and Keon still has a long ways to go. He does. And you hoped Keegan continued developing. Now, Keegan's three-point shot struggled this year. We could go into that for a minute. We're not going to do it because we're getting ready to wrap up. But the stuff that I'm looking at with Keegan, I'm blown the hell away. Dude's quickness off the ground, his explosion has nearly doubled this season. And I know there's no way to quantify that in the stats, but let me give you the eyeball test. Look at how quickly the guy can get up to the rim now. It didn't used to be that way. Look at his body and the way he defends. Did you see him defend? Who was it the other night, one-on-one? Who was it? It was in New York. It was Cat. He bodied Cat up. You see those little building things, and you see the age going down on some of these guys, and you see some guys coming into their prime, like Malik, Sabonis. And it's like, all right. And now you look at the numbers. The numbers are here. So, Rock, I am firmly in the camp that this team isn't better without De'Aaron Fox. I am not saying that. I have been in the camp and will always be in the camp through this entire thing that this team can be better without De'Aaron Fox. So, yes, you move on from De'Aaron Fox. 100%. Been saying it before any of this started between the Kings and De'Aaron's camp. Yes, you move on from De'Aaron Fox. Great question here by I Love My Life. Rhino, do you think Fox sees the lineup numbers and realize he's not fitting? No, I don't think De'Aaron sees the lineup numbers. But as a basketball player, as somebody like him who has played all his life, who has been the guy for most of his time here in Sacramento, he sees something changing around him. I think for the longest time, up until probably the middle of last year, but definitely 22-23, it was how do we fit everybody around De'Aaron Fox? Now, with the chemistry with Malik Monk, Sabonis, Keon really excelling defensively and knocking down the three-point shot at a good clip, Keegan being different, playing bigger than he actually is. That's the other key to this thing. You have guys that are smaller but can guard multiple positions. That's something the Kings have not had in a while. That's actually a bonus to this team. I think De'Aaron now, eyeball-wise, is probably looking at this and saying, how do I fit in best here? I think that's happening. I think you see it with the way they all play together now. Look at the 3 games De'Aaron was out. The Kings didn't miss a beat. They had the best game of the season against Boston. So, yeah, I think there is a dynamic to it. I don't think he's seeing the numbers, but I think he's realizing, okay, this isn't necessarily just about my game anymore. And here's the other thing. Doug Christie's a big team dude. Doug's got De'Aaron's back. You hear him talking about how special De'Aaron is. He's not worried about his shooting. He'll break out. But Doug didn't play on a team where it was one dude. It was all 5 of them. They all did different things, but nobody in the NBA played better than those 5 did together. Ever, ever, ever. I don't think you have a Golden State team with that type of cohesion without the 2001, 2002 Sacramento Kings. You don't. Different teams. Kings didn't shoot the 3 ball the way that the Warriors did. I get Steph Curry changed 2 positions. One, he's never played, the center position. But I think the Kings were the first example in an NBA that was a traditional NBA, where you had a point guard, shooting guard, small forward, power forward, and a center. the Kings were the first team that had the traditional positions, but played basically 5-man basketball. That played each guy could do everything. They could. Vlade could shoot a 3. C-Webb could shoot a 3. So it's a different time. If you're just joining us, to summarize, Mark Stein's reporting that possibly it was the Kings who approached De'Aaron Fox and said that he was going to be on the trade market, or the Kings were exploring trades for him. As we sit today, Vivek Ranadive reportedly headed to Oklahoma City to go meet with De'Aaron. Whether that's to try to smooth things over, whether, as somebody suggested, a goodbye dinner, I don't know, but that's what's being reported. Domantas Sabonis not on the All-Star team, not a surprise if you've been participating on this show this season. I did not think he would be an All-Star, although I firmly 100% believe he deserved to be an All-Star. Had completely to do with team success. But I would be surprised if Domantas does not get an invitation in AD's spot. I think he will probably get that invite because AD's injury. We'll see if he continues or goes on and decides to play there. No All-Stars. Şengün makes it. James Harden. What the hell are we doing? James Harden? Are you kidding me? Anyways. All right. Hey, thanks for joining this impromptu night where we were taking your questions, taking your calls. Wanted to come in and give you a forum just to kind of vent, talk about the All-Star, whether you want to call it a snub, the Kings not having an All-Star, and certainly the De'Aaron Fox situation. Trade deadline is the 6th. It is coming up quickly. Will he be traded or will he won't? I am not sure, Donald. I don't drink anymore, but I'm taking a vape break. BRB. You know what, Donald? You can go have the rest of the night off because we are wrapping up. I appreciate each and every one of you. Do us a favor. Give us a thumbs up. If you are watching, it really helps the channel, helps our analytics. It would mean a lot to us. I know I speak for Grant. We are humbled and grateful for all of the support that you show us with all of our shows here on this channel. And certainly, as I always say, the best and the most knowledgeable fans in the NBA. I am back tomorrow. Make sure you're here. It's our wrap-up show for the week, back tomorrow at 2 o'clock. By the way, we also said this before. If anything happens with De'Aaron Fox, anything happens with a Kings trade, we will be on the air. We will be here. So turn to us. If you get a notification that Fox has been traded, John Collins headed to Sacramento, Vivek sent his steak back because he didn't think it was cooked well enough in Oklahoma City. Whatever the breaking news is, we will be here for it. So make sure you are subscribed to the channel. Looking forward to wrapping up the week with you tomorrow at 2 p.m. for the Kings Court Friday edition. I hear Haunted Horse and Adam want to debate the Cobb salad. I mean, are we really going to do that? Yeah, we probably will. Hello, Jim. How did I do tonight, Romy?
Whoa, still not good at it, Ryan.
Damn, Jim. I thought you were going to give me high marks for tonight's show. I thought it was pretty good. Thanks to everybody who called in. Dennis, PK, GP, TC. I know I'm forgetting people. Appreciate all of you. Everybody in the chat. Appreciate you as well. Looking forward to talking to you tomorrow at 2 p.m. Go Kings. Light the damn beam. Stay the hell away from Levine, as my boy BJ says. Coach Christie, break us down.
That's big time shit. Together on 3, y'all. 1, 2, 3. Together.
Light the damn beam.
Light it.
Court is dismissed.